Hi guys, hope you're well. So something strange has happened to me recently. A viewer has got in touch and he wanted to show me his ball. Yeah, and I was like, well, if you're going to show me one, you might as well show me them both. Anyway, I sent him a picture of mine and I didn't hear back from him for quite a while. Strange, really. Anyway, this watch turned up in the post a couple of days later. So big thanks to Neil, absolutely legend for sending the watch in, it's appreciated, mate. And if you don't know much about ball watches, I think two things strike me instantly, and it's the heritage and history connected to the railroads in America and Loom. And their Loom is just, oh la la, a little bit special. It's gas filled rather than your bog standard Loom that you get in other watches. And one of the first things that struck me when I picked up this watch was the quality. It's got real heft and weight in a good way. It doesn't weigh a ton, but it feels luxurious. It feels quality, and the bracelet quality is a different gravy without a doubt. Absolutely glorious watch. Definitely not going to be for everybody, but if you think of the rainbow dial that we're talking about today, it's not as in your face as you might think. So no better place to start than the Loom. This Loom is just... It's different. It's just, obviously with it being rainbow coloured, it's just a little bit more exciting, and just like a kid in a toy shop. Boys' toys, absolutely, but why not? Loom just makes us feel a little bit warm inside for some reason, and this watch has got it in abundance. And if you've ever seen ball watches in ADs, they put their watches in special cabinets where they're all lit up darkly just to focus on the Loom, because it's a real big selling point for them. So yeah, the Loom is absolutely top notch without a doubt. But I have to say, the very first thing that struck me about this watch is, and one of the reasons he bought this watch was because he said he wanted something along the lines of a Rolex datejust, but this was more attainable right now. And although it's not obviously a homage or anyway a copy, it has got a bit of a Rolex vibe to it. And one of the things that struck me initially, straight away, was the quality of the bracelet. Now, this bracelet won't be for everybody. A, it's got polished centre links, and B, the centre links are actually protruding, raised up from the rest of the bracelet, so it gives it real volume, real size. It looks like a substantial watch on the wrist, but that quality and the links have, honestly, it's got a real drape. Now, the clasp is just a push friction clasp. There's no clicking as such. There's no buttons to release. You've just got to force it down, force it back up. Now, it's quite firm, quite sturdy, but I'd like a button release for some reason. It feels more secure to me, but not the end of the world, because it's definitely, once it's on, it feels secure and it's not going anywhere. So the dial is black, matte black, and if it's me and it's on it, my honest opinion about this watch, sorry Neil, but the dial lacks a little bit of character for me. I think they could give it a bit more oomph, a bit more something. It just looks a little bit too matte and a little bit too plain, a little bit basic, dare I say. And it's unfortunate because the design of the dial and the markers themselves, obviously they're the key feature on this watch. So yeah, the actual black bit of the dial, I think it could be a little bit jazzier than it is, because the rest of the watch is just oh la la. Now, these Loom markers are just a little bit special out there, different colours, and this is the Caring edition. So not all of the watches are of this. All these engineer watches, they don't all have this rainbow dial. This is a special edition, and it is limited to 1,000 pieces worldwide. So that is going to be a very, very unique watch. And the amazing thing, guys, is this is under £2,000 for this watch. Unbelievable price at $1,890. And the kicker, it's a chronometer. Great accuracy, great build quality, limited to 1,000 pieces. This is a really big deal for a watch, I feel. Absolutely amazing. It's got the caliber ball RR1103-C. Only 40 hours of power reserve though. So for me, nowadays when you can get watches with 70, 80 hours of power, 40 hours is a bit... It's not the end of the world. If you're going to wear that watch all day, it doesn't really matter, does it? 100 metres of water resistance, which is really good. Screw-in crown, which you'd expect. Sapphire crystal. Anti-magnetic. And one of the big things, it's got the 904L steel, which again is something that Rolex uses as well. So, really good build quality, really good materials, limited edition. There's not much not to like, is there? But like all watches, the Marmite, some will love it, some won't. And the key features that stand out and make this watch unique are the polished centre links that are raised and then the rainbow dial. But there will be also things that put people off this watch. So overall, it's a great looking watch, great build quality, and it's a 40mm watch, which is a real sweet spot for me. And I think most of you guys out there, probably 39, 40, 41, it's a real sweet spot of a watch, and this doesn't let it down. And the other dimensions work really well with this watch. It's 46mm lug to lug, which is great, but the bracelet protrudes out ever so slightly, taking it to 51.5. Not the end of the world. It's very, very wearable. The thickness is only 13mm, 20mm lugs, and it tapers down to a delicious 17.5. For some reason, I absolutely love a taper. I just think it makes a watch from really good to sublime. And I think a well-made bracelet, Oris do great bracelets, Ball have got amazing bracelets, and a taper on there as well. Oh la la, absolute magic. Now what I would say about this watch, although I said it isn't a homage to Rolex previously, is it does have a mix of the Air King vibe and the Datejust vibe. So what I mean by that is the Air King is a slightly bulkier, chubbier case, and this is what the Ball feels like. It feels like it's got a chubbier case on it with a more draped bracelet. So for me, it's a great, great alternative to a Rolex. Far better price, far better availability, but it's got that uniqueness of a limited edition. The chronometer makes a big difference for a watch under £2,000. I think that's a really big selling point. The Loom, like most people, Loom is amazingly attractive. Absolutely pointless, really, because I don't think I've genuinely ever used Loom in the dead of the night. I always check my phone. I don't know what you guys do. So Loom, as much as I love it, as much as I crave it in my life, I don't think I particularly need Loom. It's bizarre, really. But yeah, it's a good alternative. It's a great mix of what I've just said, Air King and Datejust, but it's its own beast as well. It's not trying to copy anyone. It's trying to set its own path, and I think that's a really good option. I think that's why Neil picked it as well. This particular model has opened my eyes to ball watches again. I think I tried one maybe 4 or 5 years ago, and at that point I wasn't into polished centre links or anything too blingy, so I was just off put by it. But the actual story of ball watches, if you've got 5-10 minutes or even half an hour, go read up on the history. They've got great heritage, great history, and it's actually quite an interesting read for watch geeks anyway. So yeah, I think they've got a great heritage. Maybe it should be a bit more standing in the watch industry than they've got, really, because you don't see many on Instagram. They're almost like a niche brand, and they've got a lot of heritage and history to stand behind them. So yeah, that's it. Big thanks to Neil. Loving the Cartier, loving the Ball. No more weird pictures sent in the post, I promise you, mate. Right guys, over and out. I'll see you in the next one.